when they were telling us to evacuate before the storm, my neighbors across the street moved in 2 weeks before the storm. I said to them, yes, you have to evacuate. It's the responsible thing to do. They're calling it mandatory, so we need to go. But don't worry, we'll be back within a few hours. It'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah. When my sister-in-law was calling me to keep me updated because they evacuated here on the island, she was calling me to keep us updated on what the conditions were, and it was unfathomable. She sent us photos and stuff on the phone, and you couldn't even think what it was. And they kept trying to prepare me. Eileen, it's bad. And okay, it's water. It's seawater. It's going to smell salty. It's going to be water. It's water. But it wasn't
water.
It wasn't water. It was sludge and silt
Sewer.
and filth and
Diesel, gas,
the
oil.
The odor
name it,
when
we
you
have.
came in could just knock you on your feet and really knock you over because it was slippery and slimy and absolutely horrifying.
How high was the water? Do you know?
Well, see if you can see the line on the window.
Okay. Oh, there it
That's
is.
still on the outside. We haven't gotten out there to scrub them off yet. We haven't replaced windows.
Okay.
The debris in our yard, I can't begin to tell you what was out there. We had a Mercedes that came in from 2 blocks away. It only left last month. It took out the fence and the retaining wall between me and my neighbor behind us. We never used to be able to see Bobby behind us unless we walked around. Now you could see straight through to his yard. But we put up a temporary fence to keep the dogs in the yard. It's just taking the house back to how it was prior to the storm is not going to be sustainable. I mean, not just because of the flood rates, but of course that's a big deal. I mean, when you tell me that flood insurance rates are going to go up 25% next year and 25% more the year after that and 25% more the year after that, how many years can I afford to keep paying that increase?
Right.
But not only that, just living with the fear that there is climate change. This has happened. It could happen again. We came home Thursday night after the storm. We had evacuated to the Poconos. And up there, of course, the storm reached up there too. We had no power, and up there that means no water or any of that. It was cold. We had no heat. But we had no place to come home. Our whole family is down here by the beach. At least 13 of the damaged homes belong to people searching for apartments for us because I have 2 large dogs and a teenager. Imagine trying to get an apartment with that. We just moved home about 2 weeks ago. The amount of support that we had from volunteers has been dumbfounding. It would renew your faith in humankind. It really would. I'm hideously disappointed in our government. Not that I expected anybody to swoop in and rescue us, but I'd like answers. Because although we've moved home, you can see that my home isn't finished. I know we're much more fortunate than a lot of people. But we're afraid to spend the rest of our insurance money finishing, changing windows, changing doors. You know, we have all the moldings to do, all the, the downstairs bathroom is yet to be done, all of that kind of thing. We're still waiting on because we don't know what the answers are. Nobody has finished. I mean, the flood maps, yes, they're still preliminary maps. They're changing them again. We don't know what's happening with that. Block grants, they're going to offer them. They're not going to offer them. Is anybody going to help us to get these houses raised? Are we even going to be able to do that? Mm-hmm. The DOT was down here a couple of weeks ago and they told me they're going to raise our streets, which I thought was a real positive, Tommy. I thought that raising the streets, I said, oh good. When I raise my house up like a little birdhouse, I won't have so far to go. And then it was pointed out that many of my neighbors would lose their front steps because when they raise streets, they'll also widen them. That they'll put retaining walls immediately in front of our properties, that our yards won't be raised. So my yard, which used to be a beautiful garden with lots of fruit trees, will now be almost a swimming pool because of the drop-off from the street. We haven't had any firm answers on that yet either, what will happen.
Really, the government and the insurance companies have done absolutely nothing, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, the reason why we're back in here is not because of the government, not because of the insurance companies. We're here because people opened up their hearts and came and helped.
We had a family come from Manhattan with supplies from Home Depot because they said they heard that the Home Depots here were selling out of things that people might need. So they brought gloves and trash bags and bins and brooms and shovels. Do you need anything? They came with their children. And I said, thank you, but we're okay. We don't need. Other people are going to need. We have things that were under the porch that we were able to pull out, and they're filthy, but we can use them. And they looked in and they said, you don't just need supplies, you need hands. And they came and they stayed all day. They put gloves on, they kept their kids here, and they worked. And then they came back the next day, and they brought tools for my husband. He's a carpenter. His entire shed was destroyed with the tools in it. They put a rolling toolbox with basic supplies for him. So you can't put your life back together without the tools to do it.
Right.
The wife took pictures of my photographs
Oh, do you have
and
those?
made it. I do.
Show
It's
them.
right here. It's priceless
This you
to
gotta
me.
see. This is,
She took these photos and she made me a book and mailed them to me.
Oh, my God.
This, you have to see it because it's touching. Do you see the sign? That
that's
sign was
awesome.
hanging in my house over
Yeah.
my door, and when we were emptying out, it somehow ended up on that big pile of debris that was our life. Life is good at the beach. And she made this album and put, and it will be
Right.
again.
and it will be again, she put on there.
So nice.
It was so touching. They really spoke to me, this family, but there were many people that came and gave of themselves and helped us. Our pictures were ruined because they were
Right, and
stored
she-
downstairs, and she
and
took
she-
photos of them. Wasn't that sweet? But so many instances of people going out of their way to do something special for us, things that I never even thought would be so important to me. For strangers to do this, I said, they'll always be my family.